Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. This month's club challenge is to turn a pencil cup. I hadn't done a segmented piece for some time, so I decided to make it with stave segmentation. So this is actually a set of pen blanks that I've cut into a cylinder and glued up with a walnut base and a walnut ring for reinforcement around the rim. The hard part on this actually is the table saw work to cut in the right angle on both sides of the staves, and that part was not entirely successful, but we survived anyway. Let's make it.
As in any segmented project, I need a plan. I plan to use pen blanks for a stave cylinder construction. Since they are fairly small, I'll use 12 of them to form my cylinder. For 12 staves, each must fill 30 degrees of a circle. Since each stave has two sides to cut, I'm dividing 30 degrees by 2 for 15 degrees for each cut. Depending on the saw setting, I'll use 15 degrees or its complement of 75 degrees. The wood for this project is an assortment of tropical pen blanks of various unidentified species. The trick is cutting the 15 degrees exactly on each side of each stave. I'm using a Wixey digital angle finder to set the blade angle. It's kinda handy. Set its magnetic base on the table saw surface, zero it, then crank the blade over to 75 degrees, the complement of 15 degrees. I've rigged up a sled with a clamp and a depth stop. However, it does not work very well because it is cutting a taper on the left side of my blade. Then to cut the second angle, my sled has to have the narrow side on the sled. This is too tippy. My angles are really bad. I'm stopping to modify my sled. Now that I've moved the stop over to the opposite side, the sled works much better with the widest side of the stave down against the sled, but I'm still looking for ways to improve it. I welcome your suggestions. Now to start gluing up the staves. I tested the fit and it is too sloppy to glue up all at once. I'm starting by gluing up pairs of staves. Spring clamps work great here. Next, I'm gluing two sets of stave pairs into two groups of 4, leaving two groups of 2 alone because I need to have two halves to even up the glue up. Clamping is a bit tricky. To get to two halves, I'm gluing a pair to a group of 4. This time I'm using rubber bands for clamping pressure. Clamps just split it apart. Finally, I can sand the flat side of each half until it mates well with the other. It's only a little oblong. It will do nicely. And glue the two halves together. I'm using Titebond Original Extend. This glue works better for me for segmented work because of a more sandable glue line and longer work time to get pieces together. After drying overnight, I'm starting to turn. My cylinder is in a set of deep jaws. On the live center, I have a wooden plug that fits over the live center and fits inside the cylinder. After a little rounding, I cut a tenon so I can get a solid grip on the cylinder. Now to drill out the center. This is end grain, so I'm glad I stopped to sharpen my Forstner bit. I'll sand the inside now, at least from this end, in case some wood turner sticks their fingers in it. And after sanding the outside, I'm applying lacquer. Maybe I could wait, but this seals the wood and blends well if I have to sand into it again. Shellac would do as well. Then if I don't need to cut more, it already has finish. Meanwhile, I'm also cutting a tenon on this end that will mate to the bottom. For the bottom, I found a block of walnut. I could round it on the bandsaw, but cutting into side grain from one side does not take very long. I press it to the face of my chuck and round it off before cutting a sacrificial tenon. With the walnut reversed securely in the chuck, I'm preparing what will be the bottom to the pencil cup. This will be a mortise to fit my long nose jaws. Then shape the outer profile. I stopped to compare the cylinder's diameter to get the size right. This will be my last chance to work the bottom, so I'll sign it now before applying lacquer. Now, mounted to the long nose jaws, I need to cut a mortise to receive the tenon on the cylinder. Matching a mortise to a tenon is hard work, more difficult and easier to mess up than fitting a tenon to a mortise. I'm sanding and finishing the rest of the base. I'm remounting the cylinder to my chuck to trim it to a good length for a pencil block, and sanded the inside from this side. Woodturners always feel the interior. I think my cylinder could break if I left it without some decorative reinforcement. I'm using some more walnut from the same block as the bottom. First, of course, is to round it off and cut a sacrificial tenon. Then flip it around to tool its bottom side. First, I'm cutting a mortise and drilling out the middle. Then, remounting the cylinder to fit the tenon. I learned my lesson from the bottom. Cut mortise first, then fit tenon. Now I can finish the bottom side of the top ring. A little more tooling, then sanding and applying lacquer. That mortise will work well for an expansion hold while I shorten the rim and shape it just a little. Then sand and apply lacquer to it. Finally, glue the walnut pieces to the cylinder with white glue in case there is any squeeze out. But all the parts are already finished, so any glue wipes off very easily. Then another mount using the mortise in the base to smooth out a sharp edge just inside the rim. I've enjoyed turning another segmented piece again. I need to refine my stave cutting sled more. Your suggestions, please. This is a nice pencil cup worthy of any CEO's desk. How many times did I mount it or remount the wood? I lost track. My challenge pencil cup is ready for the club meeting. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, tell your friends, and send me your suggestions, comments, and questions. Every week I make a new wood turning video. Please wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough protection. Until next week's video, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns.